All right. Welcome back to the channel, everyone out there on YouTube. This is another video to where I want to discuss a few trade setups surrounding supply and demand. Maybe you are a trader, okay? A newcomer, a beginner trader, someone that's struggling to understand how to correctly trade for supply and demand, or you just have a hard time figuring out what zones to actually trade from, okay? So I'm going to show you specifically a trade setup that I took today, which allowed me to profit from the market very well. And basically, I could have been a one and done type trade, but I want to kind of cover just in this video here that particular trade, as well as show a couple areas where you could have actually taken entries at. All right, maybe again, maybe you're someone that's having a hard time really identifying or locating where supply rests at, or demand zone may be located at. So let's talk about that. All right. Pay close attention, okay? I'm going to try my best to cover every piece of the puzzle so that you understand correctly, all right? First, what you need to know, okay, is you need to have a higher time frame basis in which you are actually looking at. Doesn't matter what style or chart types you're using. I trade from range charts, okay? Maybe you trade from time-based charts. I use a 60 range chart. Maybe use a 60-minute chart, okay? But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is you want to be able to form a bias or have some sense of a direction in relation to how you should be, looking for setups, okay, or trades, or taking your trades, okay. That's probably the biggest thing, okay. The more that you are in confluence with, say, a higher time frame, all right. So let's say you notice on your higher time frame, for me, a 60 range chart, that the market is moving to the downside or breaking through areas of structure to the downside. What you're going to be looking for are areas of supply to continue taking trades going short, okay? But what I want to show right now is one trade opportunity in which I discussed yesterday. I put it out there on our Discord community yesterday, okay? And stated basically the price got back to the 47.50 area. Pay close attention because price is probably going to do what? Reject when it got into that zone. If we get the rejection, we look to take the trade going short. So I want to show that and talk about it because I said it prior to it actually happened. And the same thing is kind of going on right now in the market. I believe at some point, maybe not in this session here, maybe into the overnight session, but at some point we are going to tap into this area back up here at 43. I'm sorry. 40.33, and there's a reason why, because there's a small gap there as well, which means that there are imbalances in the market, and the market is going to have to fill this area, all right? But before we dive any deeper into this video, please take the time to go ahead and click on the subscribe button, hit the bell next to the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you do not miss any uploads here on the channel. And the biggest thing, please drop a like on the video. I definitely appreciate it. Now, getting back to what we're talking about. All right, so I mentioned yesterday, okay, on our Discord community, and if you're interested in joining our Discord, find the link down in the description portion of the video below. I mentioned this area right here, okay? You see this is aggressive selling to the downside, right? Okay. Price was running back to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows. It taps into it, into the overnight session, pretty much into the London session, and it rejected and sold off. I mentioned that. I mentioned and stated that price is probably going to fill this gap here, okay? Or fill this area here. It's going to want to fill that area back in. But the reason why is because, pay attention. We know the market has been in a downward trajectory or trading direction over the last few weeks, right? Price made a low here. There was a nice swing to the downside here, nice structure or area where price moved lower, made a lower high here, and then pushed lower, okay? And then on the 13th, price pushed up. It wicked out, took out this area right here, and it grabbed the highs, okay? Grab these highs right here. So what does that mean? That means that price did what? It took out a quality area of structure, okay? I talk about that, all right, in many videos, okay? And then we folded and started moving to the downside, taking out some structure below. But that's when we started moving sideways, okay? So we have a low here and a high here. So if you know anything about what's going on, there's just a lot of area here where the market's doing what? It's ranging and moving sideways. Is there still opportunity to take trades? Yes, there are, okay? Because look, when price made that high here, this is what I was looking at, okay? What I was looking at when I mentioned yesterday that price is probably going to test this area right here around 47 to the 50 area, okay? Price made a high here. It made a low. It made a lower high. And what did it do when it moved lower? It broke or took out a key area of structure, what I call a nice quality area of structure, right here in this zone, okay, or this area. Now, when price breaks through a major area of structure, okay, what happens? If you have, in this case here, aggressive selling to the downside where we had a low, lower high, aggressive selling, all right? And if you take a look at this, in most instances where you have the market thrusting or pushing real hard, either to the upside or downside, in this case here to the downside, it's leaving behind areas, what I call, which are known as imbalances. I'm not going to say I came up with that. I'm just saying they're gaps, that's what I call them, or imbalances in the market, okay? Now, there are imbalances all the way back up to this area right here where the origination or where the market initially started selling off when it made this lower high. Took out this area of structure. When price takes out a quality area of structure or major area of structure, meaning major low right here, what do you think that means? That means that it's probably that there had to be a significant amount of force to do so, which means that there was a supply zone that was set up or that set itself up in this area. There is a supply zone. So once price breaks through a quality area of structure, all right, to the downside in this case here, go ahead and mark your zone. The next step is just to wait patiently for price to do what? To retrace back to the area, okay? And if you follow the channel, you know enough about what I talk about in regards to looking for the rejection. Basically, what I'm looking for is just a break of a candle in the opposite direction to the opposite side or to the downside to take the trade going back in the same direction in a sense. I mean, yes, there are other traders out there that trade like this and trade different markets, whatever the case is, but it works. Supply and demand is powerful stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me when I say that, okay? It's just a matter of understanding and locating those good areas to trade from. That's why I was saying there are imbalances here. I told our Discord community when price gets back to this area right here, I mentioned it, that we can look for something to happen. I said, be mindful. I'm taking focus or attention on this area here. It tapped into it somewhere between the Asian and the London session. If you were up trading, say the London session, you probably would have caught it. If you did, looking for the rejection, break up a candle in the opposite direction. Now, I'm not taking the trade directly off the higher time frame on 60 range chart here. At that point, once price taps back into our supply zone, I'm scaling down to a lower time frame chart. Maybe you trade a 5-minute chart. That's your scale down chart or your period chart you use. I trade a 12 range chart. So I'm scaling down from my 60 to my 12 range. If I was up and I saw this right here, I'm scaling down to that time frame chart, the 12 range, and looking for a same thing to happen, okay? The same thing to happen, a supply setup, okay? So the same thing we saw here, break a structure to the downside, price taking on a quality area structure, mark the supply zone, wait for price to come back to it. Once we get into that zone on a higher time frame, scale down to your lower time frame chart, whatever it is. For me, it's a 12 range. Once it taps into that supply zone on the higher time frame chart, I'm looking for my lower time frame now, a supply setup, meaning a breakup quality structure to the downside, mark the supply zone, wait for price to come back to it, and then looking for the break of a candle in the opposite direction to give me and let me know that's rejection to do what? To go short. Okay? So we want to trade in confluence to have pure confirmation with the higher time frame chart. Two means of confluence is going to put you in a better direction. Not say better direction, but it's going to give you more confirmation to continue taking short entries. Okay? Now, let's talk about the trade entry that I got into. All right, the trade setup that I took today. What was I looking at? Okay, well, I didn't catch this setup right here, right? When price tapped to the supply zone. But what I noticed was here on the 60 range chart was that there was a decent area of structure right here when price started making or retracing its way back to the upside, tapping into that supply zone there, right? I noticed that we had a high here, a lower high, and then a new high up here, right? but this was a decent area of structure right here. So you see what that blue arrow is right there. I waited patiently for price to, yes, patiently. You must understand, to everyone out there who's watching this video right now, patience is the key to trading. All right, it is a major important part of trading. Now, the most important thing is market structure and price action. I'll say that. Okay. Now, what I waited for was price to take out this quality area structure right here, okay, off the 60 range chart, okay? Once price took out that area of structure right here, meaning that it broke below 3901 just say 3901, okay? Broke below there. Yes, we have a round number sitting there. We all know that, 3900. But once it broke below and took out 3901 to the downside, what do? You go ahead and find a supply zone, okay? Now, there was a swing to the downside right here, and a pullback, and a push lower that took out this quality area structure. So I have a swing here that took out this quality area of structure right here. So what am I looking for now? Mark the supply zone on the higher time frame. Now, the second thing, wait for the pullback to the supply zone on the higher time frame, and then do what? Just simply go down. Move down to your lower time frame chart, whatever that is, okay? So, I'll move down to my 12 range chart for me, simple enough, okay? Just to put it out there. Now, this is that big box you see here, that is the supply zone from the higher time frame, okay? Now, what I'm looking for now, price to do is to, tap back into the area supply off the 60 range chart, which is this zone right here. You may say it's a large zone, but you have to know what's going on here, okay? And I'm not going to go into all the breakdown or complete details when I say that, intricate details, because I covered that on our within the community in itself. If you want to know more about those type of things, you can join our Discord, which is down in the description portion of the video below. It's free of charge, but you can join the community. The community is great because we post, like, for instance, I post my entries, the trades I take on the community, which is on the trading floor on the channel. There's two channels, the general chat and the trading floor. But let's talk about that at the end of the video, okay? All right, so let's get back into this. So basically what I'm looking for now is price to pull back to that higher time frame demand zone. Excuse me, I'm not saying demand, supply, because this is a supply setup. Price taps into it. I'm looking for the same thing to happen at this point here. I'm looking for price to do the same thing we just talked about before, okay? All right, is to create a break of structure to the downside once it taps into that higher time frame supply zone. Basically, break a structure to the downside, creating a new area supply. Wait for the pullback on the lower time frame once you've marked a new zone on the lower time frame. So break a structure, okay, to the downside on the 12 range chart, or maybe it's your 5-minute chart, okay, on this chart that is your scaled down chart, meaning your pair chart, meaning the one that you move down to from the higher time frame. Now you're looking for a supply setup, okay, or supply zone created on the lower time frame. So you get a breaker structure to the downside, all right? Mark the supply zone on your lower time frame. Once you get that, just a matter of doing what? Waiting for price to retrace back to it on the lower time frame. Once you get the rejection, okay, that's what I talked about at the beginning of this video. The break of a candle in the opposite direction, take your entry going short, okay? Because already price is moving to the downside. So we want to be in position to continue or looking for a short going to or moving to the downside with the higher time frame chart. Simple as that. As simple as that, guys. And I got into this trade when price moved back here, gave me the structure break that I was looking for, marked my zone, went short, and I made great profit. And within 2 minutes of that trade, I could have been one and done for the day. All right. Now, if you're someone that's trading 10, 20 contracts, just imagine, okay? Imagine I picked up 73 ticks on that one trade, okay? I posted it over on our Discord community as well, but that was a 73 tick trade, all right? And I was just trading 2 contracts, okay? Because, the market, we were shortly after the market, half an hour after the market, whatever the case is, opening up. And typically I'll wait 20, 25 minutes to start doing my trading. But, just one of those things, just depending how comfortable of a trade that I feel like I'm getting into. But most times I typically trade between 2 and 4 contracts. That's just how I trade. I could trade a whole lot more than that, but I'm just comfortable trading like that because I'm looking for a few setups throughout the session. Some people trade one and dones, and it's great. I could be one and done with that one trade. 73 ticks to most people is like, hey, that's good profit for me, right? All right. So if you're interested in joining our Discord now, I've covered that trade there and how you can look for setups like that using paired charts. So hopefully you understand that. If you want more information, if you want to join our Discord community, find the link down in the description portion of the video below. Again, it's free of charge. We have 2 channels set up there, the general chat and the trading floor. The trading floor is basically what it is. It's where we basically as traders come together and we post screenshots of our entries, our trades that we actually took from certain zones or levels, whatever the case is. We are approaching 1,000 members now on our Discord community and growing. So that must mean something. We're growing by the day, all right? So, but outside of that, if you're interested in continuously, acquiring valuable content like you've seen today, please take the time to subscribe to the channel by clicking on the red sub button down below. We'd love to have you as part of our team, as part of our community. And that's all I have for you guys today. I thank everyone tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, and if you're trading, please be safe.